In this video, I'm going to walk you through the second lesson on layer masks, okay? So the objective is practically the same as lesson 1, but this time we are going to hide and reveal parts of an image to create crazy compositions. So let me explain you what compositions am I talking about. Remember, you have here the activity step by step. You will have to do one hybrid animal and one wild fruit or veggie. So over here I have a gallery of hybrid animals and wild fruits and veggies. You can click on these arrows to check all the examples that I found for you. So these are crazy compositions, okay? And over here we have the I want you to combine a fruit or a vegetable, but with an animal, okay? As you can see from the examples. And over here, you have to combine two different animals. So my recommendation is to find, of course, animals in this one that are of similar color, so the blending is easier, okay? And over here in the fruits and the vegetables, you don't have to choose the same color, but the key here is to choose a fruit that kind of matches the shape of the animal, okay? So let's get started. If you cannot see them completely, you can open the image in your tab so you can open them like in their full size. So let's get started. Over here, I have a couple of examples that I created for you. I combined here this crocodile with a frog. And then over here, I put a coconut into the body of an elephant, okay? So I'm going to start with the easiest one, which is the combination of the two animals. So remember, for these type of projects, we are not going to create a new document, but rather to open the image. So my base here will be the frog image, which I will directly open in Photoshop, and I will convert this into a smart object. Then I'm going to place the image of the crocodile. Very good. So I found this image of this crocodile. I'm just going to resize it a little bit. But as you may notice, my frog is facing left and the crocodile is facing right. So that's there's a quick fix for that. You go to Edit, Transform, and here you have the skew option that I showed you how to do with Command. You have some scaling, some distorting, perspective, but we also have the flipping. So I'm going to click in Flip Horizontal so I can flip, of course, the picture of my crocodile. Now, as you can see, I chose this image because it has texture kind of similar to the one of the frog, but that I'm going to combine them using several settings of levels of opacity, okay? So what I'll be doing here is I'm just going to use my lasso tool really fast to select the crocodile and start doing my mask, okay? I'm doing this very simple, super fast, and I will apply the mask. So I can start moving the head around so it kind of matches with the one that I have here. You can even decrease the opacity to see where you're going to place the image, okay? So I think for me that's okay. Let me bring the opacity back again. So what are you going to do? I'm going to focus in this part first, okay? I will click on the layer mask and I will choose my brush because I want to start hiding parts of the image. Now, I don't want to hide this completely because the merging here won't be as blended as the one that I created, okay? So the tip here, or the big setting here for you to use, is the opacity and the hardness of the brush. So if I reduce the hardness of the brush and I start painting over this, then as you can see, the blending is not that weird. right? So what I'll be focusing here first is just to match kind of like the shape of the body of my crocodile with the body of my frog, okay? So I'm just going to start doing that really, really fast. I'm going to even remove this. You, of course, are going to take the time to do this better, okay? I'm just doing this fast for the video. But remember, you need to do bigger zoom levels so you can cut this perfectly, okay? So let me just do this fast. Now, I already matched the shape of the body, right? Remember, if you use white, you can bring back all these like the parts of the image that you hit, okay? So I think those are good for me. Now, how can I blend these two? Like making them look a little bit more natural, like having the best of both images. In this case, I preserved the texture of both bodies, okay? So what I'll be doing here is, again, to reduce the hardness, but also the opacity. So you need to decrease the opacity gradually. You can start, I don't know, by 70, 73. Hold on. Let me switch the color. And then you start painting like the edges, okay? If it's a lot, then you continue decreasing the opacity and you can paint over these several times so the blending, like the transition of the blending, is a little bit better. Now, what I want you to understand with this type of works, of these type of compositions, is that they won't be like done incredibly fast. You need to remember that. These type of compositions take time, like choosing the appropriate level of opacity, the level of zoom, the hardness of the brush. All of these type of works require time. So please, instead of just doing the activity just because or to turn it in faster, like that is not the purpose. The purpose is for you to develop these skills. So if you do this fast just for the sake of a grade, then we are not like getting the skills that we need to, okay? So as you can see, I'm playing with my brushes here. So the edges of my, like of the body of the frog match like the properties as well of the skin here of my crocodile, okay? So after you do that, it took me around 20 minutes to do this, okay? Here's the result. So as you can see, the head is a little bit bigger and I left texture of the crocodile and the frog as well. I don't have specific values for what you have to do. It totally depends on your image. But again, my recommendations are to play with the size of the brush, to reduce the opacity of your brush as well, so you can blend all these colors better. And the blending, like the combination of both images, results in something a little bit more natural, okay? So as you can see, the change that I did here was the opacity, and the blending is turning a little bit better, okay? Don't apply it on the face because that's not the thing that I want to mask, okay? So you will take the time to do this. And you have my image as like the result as an example, okay? Now, let me move on to the elephant. The elephant was a little bit trickier. It took me like 35 minutes to do it because let me explain you what I did here. I have two masks. Let me disable this layer mask and this layer mask so that you can see what I did here. So I have the first image, which is the elephant, but I wanted to accomplish the effect, like a halo effect here, right? But if I did that, then I needed to replace also the background. Because if, for example, let me duplicate this layer. If, for example, I used a layer mask, like with black, to hide this part of my elephant over here. Let me hide this. To hide this part of my elephant, then I will be removing also the background. Okay, and we are not going to see yet how to fill this space with a content or a background similar to this. So what did I do? I replaced, like, I created a new layer with a white background, but I used, or I apply, a layer mask. Let me enable this again. A layer mask, so I could play with the body to have that halo effect, but without worrying about matching the color of my background. So for example, if in this one, I didn't have enough space for the head of my crocodile, I would also added a layer mask to remove the background from the frog first, like to isolate the object from its original background, and then I would continue like doing this composition. Okay, so let's get back to this one. That was my first step. So you need to start like identifying what your project needs. Okay, do I need to change the background? To which layer should I apply the layer mask to? Okay, let me get rid of this one. Now, after I removed the background, I kept my elephant like this. Hold on. I kept my elephant like this, okay? But then I put the coconut, so I could, and I decreased the opacity, so I could match, not from that one, from this one, so I could match like the size of the coconut with the size of my elephant, okay? Let me undo all these changes. Now, let me show you how I did that. You know how to work with Masks2 by now, right? So I placed the image of the coconut. Let me do this from scratch. I placed the image of my coconut. I resized it, of course. And then I added a layer mask. How did I start it? With my brush, black, and I just removed the parts of the coconut that I didn't need, like this, okay? I got rid of all that excess that I don't need, something like that, and super simple and fast, okay? I did this incredibly fast because I wanted to worry first on the perspective. So I placed my image over there. I placed my image and then I started pressing Command so I could match the perspective of the coconut with the shape of the body of my elephant, okay? And once I was happy with the result, you can do it as crazy as you like, okay? Something super like banded, which I think that looks even better than the example that I did, but you get the point. So we are going to play with the perspective, and after that, we are going to repeat the same process as we did with the frog and the crocodile. With my brush, here on the layer mask, with my brush, I will start playing now with the hardness, with the size of my brush, and with the opacity as well. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all these extra parts of the coconut, but I don't want to, I want this to look a little bit more natural, like the blending, I want it to look a little bit better. So, or gradually blended. So with my brush, I think the hardness is okay. Let me just reduce the size a little bit. Something like that. And then I will also reduce the opacity. Let me zoom in. I'm going to start blending, okay? A little bit more. I'm going to start blending like the coconut into the body of the elephant, okay? I need to pass the brush several times because I have opacity. So again, we need to do this with patience. Yes, it takes time, but we are developing skills, okay? So I'm going to, as you can see, I'm playing with the hardness of the brush, I'm playing with the opacity, and also I can go to the elephant layer. Let me increase the opacity to the elephant layer to get rid of the excess of the body of the elephant and so on. Okay, and to the other part of the elephant, what I did is that I used as well black to hide parts of the elephant so it matched with the like the orientation of the coconut and all that. Okay, so here are two different examples, but remember, as a summary, the key is to isolate the object from the background so you can have a better effect. That can help most of the times. Then you need to apply perspective using skew or flipping the object. So the object that will be on top or the one that you're going to use to blend is better combined with the original, okay? You need to play with the size, the hardness, and the opacity of the brush so the blending between the two objects is gradual and it looks good, okay? We want to combine them very, very good. And also remember that if you used a selection tool, in this case, for example, for my elephant, I used the polygonal lasso tool because I started using the quick selection tool, the lasso tool, the object selection tool, and the result wasn't as neat, like the edges weren't as neat as I want them to. Okay, so I used the polygonal lasso tool. So all the edges of my elephant in this case were good. Okay, so that's what you're going to do for the activity. Again, you have to do one hybrid animal and wild fruit or veggie. But before you do your own, you are going to download the pictures from the coconut and like the elephant with the coconut and the frog and the crocodile to do these examples first so you can practice and then you will create your own crazy compositions, okay?